Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Starcraft for All, My Base Fusion Zerg Core. Chapter 91, Battle Star Number 12, The Real Battle Star. Its firepower is much more powerful than the planetary fortress. The defense power also far exceeds that of the Battle Star Fortress. Because of its size, even if the energy shield disappears, it can withstand more blows and maintain good combat power for a considerable period of time. The only drawback is that there are currently no suitable planetary engines. The battleship group evacuated, but the Soul Clan did not pursue them. The power of the nuclear fusion device on the battleship is very low, and the fuel in it is almost burned out. In the eyes of the Soul Clan, Battle Star Number 12 is the most popular one. As for the battleship that no longer has much energy, they don't care at all. A large number of souls ignored the evacuating battleship group and rushed towards Battlestar Number 12, instantly vaporized on the energy shield. But then, more and almost endless soul clans rushed over. Battlestar Number 12 showed off his super firepower as the 823 Battlestar. More than 1 million energy cannons can strike without blind spots. Almost instantly, a large area of the starry sky was cleared. Quan looked at this scene without feeling too relaxed. Although a large amount of nuclear fuel has been stored on Battlestar Number 12 in advance, it will be exhausted sooner or later. The most important thing is that this is inconsistent with our expected plan. The purpose of our coming here is not to deal with the Soul Clan. According to calculations, the nuclear fuel on Battlestar 12 can guarantee 300 days of demand under extreme circumstances. Close black lens bracket. As long as new energy sources can be developed, the expected plan can continue to be implemented without being affected. Close black lens bracket. New energy research has already begun, and the research will be successful soon. Close black lens bracket. Quan felt a little relieved after hearing Core's words. Battlestar Number 12 showed off his might and beat the Soul Tribe away. Outside the nebula, Quan is also waiting for good news about Core research. The laboratory never stopped, and all the instruments inside were in full operation. Now most of the computing power has been allocated to the research of new energy. As long as we can break through, we can launch a counterattack. As time goes by, the pressure on the Number 12 Battlestar is gradually increasing. The strength of the Soul Clan from the inner part of the star system is much higher than that of the Soul Clan from the periphery, and the energy required to kill them is also much stronger. In order to save energy, the core controls the power of the energy cannon as accurately as possible. More than 50 days later, the Soul Tribe near Planet 8 arrived. Tens of billions of Soul Clans broke through the energy cannon blockade for the first time and directly hit the energy shield. Although the energy shield was extremely strong, it blocked them. But Quan knew that this phenomenon was nothing serious. The strength and number of souls exceeded expectations. Quan is also a little worried about this. According to calculations, the energy reserve that was originally expected to support the 12th Battlestar for 300 days seems to be greatly reduced. It would be considered good if you can persist for 200 days. But now Quan is helpless. Massive souls have surrounded Battlestar Number 12, and it is difficult for him to rush in even if he wants to. The Earth-level battleship may be halfway through, and its energy will be exhausted, and then it will become food for the Soul Clan. Finally, on the 98th day after Battlestar Number 12 officially entered the battle, good news came from the core, which boosted Quan's spirits. Master, the research on new energy sources has finally achieved a breakthrough. Close black lens bracket. What is the source of new energy? Quan asked urgently. The way to obtain energy is the decay of elements. Close black lens bracket. When heavy elements decay into light elements, the mass lost will become a large amount of energy. The greater the mass loss, the greater the energy burst out. Close black lens bracket. The level of this energy far exceeds that of nuclear fusion, and its stability is higher. Close black lens bracket. In fact, this theory has been mentioned in the database of Yushan civilization, but Yushan civilization has never been able to find the conditions for decay. Close black lens bracket. Using star number 4 as a reference, after a lot of experiments, we finally found a way to decay elements. Close black lens bracket. After listening to the introduction of the core, Quan asked, "So, have the devices required for decay been produced?" It has been produced in the laboratory and has undergone stability testing. Close black lens bracket. But this is only a small device and can only supply the needs of Earth-level battleships. What needs to be done now is to conduct large-scale experiments to see how effective the energy supply will be after the scale is expanded. Close black lens bracket. It will take about 5 days. Close black lens bracket. Just do it, I'm sure there won't be any problem. Quan waved his hand and could finally breathe a sigh of relief. 5 days later, the core completed all experiments. A new generation of energy device, the element decay energy conversion device, has finally been created. At the same time, detailed data was also placed in front of Quan. According to calculations, under the same volume and scale, energy can be obtained through element decay, which is 100 times that of nuclear fusion. And the materials needed for this method are available everywhere. There is no need to occupy the production capacity of the material energy converter at all. If necessary, even unimportant parts of the ground-level warships, such as secondary guns, can be dismantled for energy supply. The material inside planet number 12 can also be used to provide energy. As long as there is matter, there is basically no energy depletion in this energy supply method. This has only just been discovered. Under the core's expectations, this energy supply method can be further developed and utilized, and the final efficiency can reach thousands of times that of nuclear fusion. At this time, the battleship factories on Battlestar No. 12 collectively stopped working. Started mass production of elemental decay energy conversion devices. The goal is to completely replace the Battlestar's energy supply system within the next 30 days and completely send nuclear fusion into history. Not only that, the base has also begun production here, first to replace its own energy supply method, and then to transform and upgrade the surrounding 30,000 land-class warships. When the huge amount of energy rushed into the system and the base's energy reserve increased explosively, Quan was also slightly surprised. With the elemental decay energy source, the upgrade speed of the main base is greatly increased. You can reach level 19 in about 10 days. Originally, it would take more than 3 years to upgrade from level 19 to level 20, but now 4.0 only takes 60 days. Reaching level 20 is a leap forward for the Zerg. Although level 20 is only a second-level civilization, whether the Zerg has reached a second-level civilization is completely different and will be a qualitative change. As the transformation progresses, all the energy supply on Star 12 has been replaced by elemental decay. The energy supply suddenly stabilized, and all the materials needed for the decay of elements were provided by the planet itself. The mass of Planet 12 is enough for it to fight for tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of years. The base has also been upgraded to level 19, and the 30,000 nearby warships have all replaced their energy sources with elemental decay and determined matter. Start the counterattack. Following Quan's order, the Earth-level warships once again passed through the nebula, rushed into the star system, and strangled the Sol clan. 30,000 upgraded Earth-class battleships equipped with elemental decay energy, with fierce artillery attacks, once again passed through the nebula and rushed towards the number 12 Battlestar. At the same time, during this period of time, nearly 20,000 Earth-class warships were also launched from the number 12 Battlestar to cooperate with the warships that were coming in again. Battlestar No. 12 is not idle either, because with sufficient energy supply, the core is no longer needed for precise calculation and control, and the energy cannon is pouring out artillery fire at almost full power. In the blink of an eye, most of the Sol clan that originally surrounded Zhangxing were wiped out. This created favorable conditions for the convergence of battleships. The battleship group successfully converged outside Battlestar No. 12 and began to cooperate with Battlestar No. 12 to clean up the surrounding Sol clan. Because there was no energy constraint, the warships opened fire, and the original situation was restored in one fell swoop. It's a pity that the Sol clan has no morale at all. They just keep going, one after another, like moths flying into the flames. But for Quan, he finally has a firm foothold. At least the Battlestar Area 12 is owned. As the number of battleships increases, he will become more stable. There is a huge amount of material in the thick nebula, and even if Quan were allowed to consume it to his heart's content, it would still take hundreds of thousands of years. The dragon-armored warriors finally got free, and they all went out of the nebula to the number 4 star, and began to build a larger-scale star energy collection film. Although this energy source is not as efficient as elemental decay, it is worse than its sustainability. There is no need to consume any materials, and as long as the scale is large enough, an astonishing supply can be achieved. For Quan, the energy requirement of the base number is too great. Of course, the more the better. Even with the energy provided by elemental decay, it still takes more than 60 days to go from level 19 to level 20. Then the energy requirements will increase for upgrades after level 20. The Zerg race's thirst for energy is not much worse than that of the Soul race. Energy is the foundation of development. After the situation on Star 12 stabilized, some battleships were called back by Quan. Through core scanning, it was found that there are some asteroids suitable for transformation into battlestar fortresses near the 4th star, within a 50-day round-trip voyage. Battleships will go to these asteroids to capture them, bring them back and transform them into battlestar fortresses. Under the dual power supply of stellar energy and elemental decay, the battlestar fortress will be more powerful than before. Quan plans to deploy a strong line of defense around the 4th star. In the universe, you must be prepared at any time, war may break out at any time. The relevance of scientific research continues to demonstrate truth. The emergence of new energy has led to continuous breakthroughs in science and technology. The first is the power system. A new type of engine was quickly developed, allowing the ground-class battleship to reach a propulsion speed of 20,000 km per second. The energy cannon has been upgraded from primary to intermediate energy cannon, and its power has increased by more than 10 times. The same is true for the energy shield, and the defense strength has also increased by more than 10 times. The combat power of the Earth-level battleships has now mostly entered the threshold of the middle stage of the 3rd-level civilization. Although it is still not comparable to Aoan civilization, it has already surpassed Aelan civilization. If the two sides exchange fire again, Quan is absolutely confident that he can rub Aelan civilization on the ground to start a fire. At least in the endless galaxy, the middle stage 3rd-level civilization is no longer weak. If Quan wanted to, he could completely replace Aoshan civilization as the manager of the 7th region. Because of the limitations of the body shape and materials, the Earth-class battleship can only be equipped with 2 sets of new engines, which can reach a speed of 20,000 km per second. And the power of the energy cannon and energy shield has not been fully revealed. It seems we need to study larger warships. Quan's words were affirmed by the core. With a length of 1,500 meters, the Earth-class battleship seems very large, but in fact it can only be regarded as a small and medium-sized battleship. The Aoan civilization has shown their warships with a length of 10 kilometers, which may be called large warships. The Feiyu fighter is an exception. The strong force material is very powerful, but its weaknesses are also obvious. Even a first-level civilization, if it has a particle collider, can cause a devastating blow to the flying fish fighter jet. And when the energy cannon reaches a certain intensity, it can also break the stability between materials with strong force, causing a fatal blow. In the core analysis, the seemingly powerful exoset fighter is more like an experiment than a weapon that can be installed on a large scale. However, although strong force materials cannot be used as weapons, they are very effective as outer armor of battleships. As long as it is not involved in the construction of the main structure of the battleship, its shortcomings can be completely ignored, and its advantages will be magnified many times. At the same time, when the battleship has no energy, it can also be used as a material for elemental decay. Its ultra-high quality and excessive amount of matter can draw huge amounts of energy to battleships. Therefore, under Quan's instructions, new warships began to enter the research and development stage. Research on strong force materials has also begun. Under the gunfire, the territory of the prefecture-level battleships continued to advance and expand, and the area they occupied became larger and larger. After more than 60 days of non-stop fighting, we are almost approaching the Planet 11 area. At this time, the level 20 that Quan has been thinking about is finally coming. Following Quan's order, the base begins to advance towards level 20. This upgrade is a huge leap for the Zerg. The biological parts inside the battleship continue to grow, and the volume of the entire battleship is rapidly expanding. Some original metal materials, even degenerate materials, were stretched or even torn apart by a huge force. The entire 083 process lasted for a full 6 hours. In one fell swoop, the base became a behemoth 5 kilometers long. The main base reaches level 20, and the gene lock is released. Close black lens bracket. The current gene development degree is 5%. Please increase the base level to enhance the group development degree. Close black lens bracket. The number of sub-bases that can be owned has increased by the level of the main base, up to 10,000 times. Close black lens bracket. The number of all basal larvae reaches 1 million. Close black lens bracket. Quan received a reminder from the core. When the base reaches level 20, although the change in the base number is huge, it is very small compared to the overall change in the Zerg. Although the Zerg have a certain numerical advantage before level 20, it is still far from enough to crush the insect sea. Even if Quan had developed too fast before, whether it was facing the Guardians or the Yushan civilization, its numbers were always at a disadvantage. But starting from now, everything becomes different. The upper limit of sub-bases has been increased from the previous 100 times to 10,000 times. Now he can build a full 20,000 sub-bases. In addition, the number of larvae has increased to 1 million, 10 times the original number. As long as there is enough energy, the production capacity will be doubled directly by 1,000 times. If all bases are fully operational, 200,000 prefecture-level warships can be produced every day. Just thinking about it gives me a feeling of electricity running through my body and chills standing on end. This is the Zerg race, the terrifying race that owns the Sea of Worms. After reaching level 20, to continue upgrading, you must unlock genes. The unlocking here is divided into 2 parts. One part refers to the original gene pool of the Zerg, and the other part refers to the foreign genes. After the Zerg biotechnology reaches the level of secondary civilization, its further improvement relies on the development of genetic technology and follows the route of biological evolution. This is the route the Zerg have taken. Develop your own genes and integrate foreign genes. No matter which method is used, the ultimate goal is to enhance one's own genetic level. Not only the Zerg, but almost all civilizations that followed the biotechnology route eventually followed this path. Some biological evolution is the evolution of a single entity. Quan is not clear about the connotation of this evolutionary model. The Zerg are following group evolution, which requires continuous improvements in genetic technology to evolve. In addition to genes, of course, huge energy requirements are also indispensable. It's just that later in development, energy is no longer an issue, genes are the fundamental issue. The current gene development rate is 5%. In addition to part of the Zerg itself, the other 5% comes from Quan and the energy life forms obtained on planet 381. Among them, Quan contributed 4%. If I had known earlier, I should have obtained a copy of all the genes of the Guardian civilization, Yushan civilization, and the organisms on Aquamarine. Core, why don't you remind me? The data was not unlocked before, so it is not clear. Close black lens bracket. And the gene database needs genes from races with development potential, or genes from powerful creatures. Not all genes are useful. Close black lens bracket. Quan understands the significance. The Yushan civilization is a race that has the potential to develop into a third-level civilization, and their genes should be useful. But like the biological genes on Aquamarine or the genes of the Guardian civilization, their potential is too weak and of little value. However, the genes of the soul races in the star system number 5 in front of us, especially those powerful soul races close to the star number 5, should be useful. Get Planet 11 as quickly as possible. Quote, develop a true planetary engine and install it on Battlestar number 12 to turn Battlestar number 12 into a real battle star. Open black lens bracket. Obey, Great Master, close black lens bracket. Quan issued 2 instructions in succession. Building a sub-base requires land, and there is no space on Battlestar number 12. The suitable planet right now is Planet 11, which can accommodate 200,000 sub-bases without any problem. Not only the sub-bases, but also the nuclear worms, whose number has increased tenfold, also require a lot of space. Although in space, a direct incubation base is also possible, but the stability is not as good as on the planet. There are too many unknown factors in the universe. At the same time, Quan also plans to build an element decay energy device on a large scale, and cooperate with the stellar energy collection membrane of the fourth star to accelerate energy storage and continue to upgrade the main base. Unlock genes, upgrade the main base, explode the sea of troops, and increase combat power. Develop more powerful technology and more powerful weapons to add to the Zerg army. The quantity must be there, and the individual combat power must also be there. Quan knows the path he wants to take next. The battleship is advancing steadily, and will be able to advance to Planet 11 in about 20 days. With the experience of transforming the Battlestar Fortress, the research on the ultra-large-scale planetary engine was very smooth, and it was successfully developed in just a few days. At this time, production and installation on Battlestar No. 12 have begun, and Battlestar No. 12 will soon be operational. Originally, we were still researching a larger-scale warship, but we didn't expect that after the main base was upgraded, the first breakthrough would be the biological neuron computing system. After unlocking some genes, the biological performance is greatly improved. Core took advantage of the situation and developed the third-generation biological neuron computing system. Different from the previous second-generation system, the single-chip computing power of this generation system has increased by 10 times, and the overall scale of the computing system has also increased by 10 times. The overall computing power has increased by 100 times. With more available computing power, the efficiency of core research can be greatly improved. Everything seems to be going in the right direction. 20 days later, the battleship group finally successfully advanced to Planet 11. At this time, Battlestar No. 12 finally started with a roar. The ultra-large planetary engine gave it powerful power, and it escaped from the control of the fifth star and became a member of the Quan battleship group. The core controls the battleship group and quickly cleans up the Soul Clan around Planet 11. As for the planet, there is no Soul Clan left. The 5-kilometer-long base flew towards Star 11 at a speed of 40,000 kilometers per second. Because of its large size, more new engines were installed on it, giving the base a greater power. 10,000. A large number of larvae were released and hatching construction began on Planet 12. It only takes 2 days to complete the incubation and construction of 200,000 sub-bases and put them into production the next moment. The Zerg's war potential is terrifying. After dropping the larva, the base returned to the fourth star again. Its mission has been completed, and Star 4 can continue to accumulate energy. Many stellar energy harvesting membranes have been built here, and huge amounts of energy are being continuously delivered. At the same time, 2 planets have been brought back and their transformation is in progress. Originally, Quan planned to hatch a large number of dragon-armored warriors and push himself to level 20, becoming a second-level civilization creature. But the core tells it that crossing civilization levels is not that simple. No amount of level 19 Zerg warriors can push him to level 20. Only when the main base reaches level 21 and the genes are unlocked to 10%, can the power feedback feature be used to push it to level 20 and become a true second-level civilized creature. Well, in this case, we can only wait for it to be unlocked. Master, don't worry. When the energy is sufficient, part of the gene pool of the Zerg itself will be unlocked. Together with the genes of the soul race in the star system, it should be possible to reach 10% of the gene pool. 1. Well, don't worry, just wait. Are you researching genetic technology? According to some of the databases that have been unlocked by the Zerg itself, genetic technology is already being studied, and it is expected that the first genetic technology will be developed soon. Close black lens bracket Wong Hao Hao. Oh, Quan was a little surprised by Core's answer. Later, when I thought about it, I understood, because this research is supported by the Zerg's own database, and it is not starting from scratch. So the research progress is very fast, basically just making some minor adjustments. So what was the first study? It is the study of metabolism in carbon-based life genes. In the words of the Master of the Earth, it is how to live longer. Close black lens bracket. Quan suddenly became energetic. Although his lifespan is already safe, other people on Earth cannot live for such a long time. Perhaps after the second-level civilization, science and technology can make breakthroughs in ecological technology research to increase life expectancy. But it is impossible for most people to survive to the second-level civilization. What are the expectations? If the research is successful, taking the genes that dominate humans on Earth as an example, the lifespan is expected to reach 8.76 million hours, which is about 1,000 Earth years. Close black lens bracket. Life technology. Quan immediately thought of that little girl Mo Ching. It's been several years since I left her now, and I don't know what kind of development she has become. Although Mo Ching has never seen her at all, and she has never spoken to her, as the first compatriot to discover her, Quan will think of her from time to time. He even named the planet where she is located as star number 01. Although more than a dozen planets of the same race were discovered one after another, they no longer felt that way. Only star number 01 of the same race and Mo Ching on it would remind him of it from time to time. At the same time, I also think about some of my years on Earth. Research it and let me know the results. Quan calmed down and walked out of the memories. A few days later, Planet 11 was already covered with sub-bases. A total of 200,000 sub-bases occupy a large space. Then 1 billion nucleozoa also take up a lot of space. The remaining space is basically occupied by the energy shield device, energy cannon and energy supply device. Although Planet 11 is not a battle star, it is not completely defenseless. With these devices, although the number is not as good as the real battle stars, it is at least 1/5 of them. Planet number 12 has also flown over, preparing to join the battleship army. The nuclear worms and sub-bases on Planet 140 on Planet 12 have disappeared, and they have all been transferred to Planet 11. Today's Planet 12 is a true battle star. Under the reasonable allocation of cores, 200,000 sub-bases form a battleship factory. Mass production of Earth-class battleships began. Daily output has reached 200,000 ships. In just 5 days, Quan's army expanded to millions. A group of millions of battleships was dispatched and began to march towards stars number 10 and number 9. Clean up along the way, not letting go of any Soul clan. Quan wants to completely wipe out this star system and take it completely into his hands. The Soul tribe is spread all over the galaxy. For the entire galaxy, such a few battleships are simply not enough. 1 million battleships is just the appetizer. The number of warships will continue to increase. Now that there is no energy limit, Quan has started to work freely. The warships advanced very smoothly. After the number increased significantly, the advancement speed accelerated a lot. Just 20 days later, the battleship group had advanced to Planet 10 and began to sweep the area near Planet 10. And in these 20 days, the 4 million warships produced went to other locations in the galaxy to clean up the Soul clan. There are too many Soul clans. The closer they are to the star, the more numerous they are and the more powerful they are. Especially starting from Planet 6, its individual combat effectiveness has reached the level of a second-level civilization. In one-on-one situations, the second-level civilized creatures on Aquamarine may not be their opponents. Even though Joe was completely crushed in terms of combat power, there was still a lot of pressure. After all, there are too many souls. According to core estimates, starting from reaching Planet 3, the Soul clan may reach the peak of the second-level civilization, or even the low-stage third-level civilization. A fierce battle may break out at that time. The core suggestion is that before a new type of battleship is developed, it is enough to advance the team to the final planet. This idea coincides with Quan. After reading the information provided by the core, Quan had almost the same meaning. Although the Earth-class battleships have considerable combat power, they are, after all, warships that have been researched and manufactured during the second-level civilization. It now seems to have many shortcomings. Due to size limitations, larger energy cannons and energy shields cannot be used. With this alone, the Earth-class battleship is already somewhat inadequate. The design drawings of the new warship have been completed, and Quan has seen the design drawings. The shape is like a sharp arrow, with a streamlined hull. The body length is 3,000 meters, and the front section is 1,500 meters as a whole. The last 1,500 meters are divided into 3 sections with 500 meters as one section. Each section has an independent power system and energy system. The 3 stages can work simultaneously or operate independently. The When the three stages work simultaneously, the warship's top speed can reach 30,000 kilometers per second. If one section is damaged, it will not affect the other two sections. This effect can be achieved precisely because of the existence of Zerg biotechnology. The biological part is self-consistent and self-healing, so it can complete such an incredible design. Part of the biological function of this design is a certain gene from the Zerg, which has the property of self-assembly. The 1,500 meters ahead are completely dominated by weapon systems, energy systems, and energy shield systems. The entire battleship was packed to the brim. The core gave up the secondary battery facilities and used all main guns. In a length of 1,500 meters, 150 main guns are installed, with an average of 1 gun every 10 meters. 10 intermediate energy shield devices are installed, which greatly improves the defensive performance. The weapon system and energy shield system are powered by 10 sets of elemental decay energy devices. The energy output is equivalent to 1,000 previous nuclear fusion devices, and the sustainability has been improved by an unknown amount. Just after looking at these designs, Quan felt that they were normal designs. But the most amazing thing is the application of strong force materials. In the outer shell of the battleship, the core is designed with strong force materials, completely abandoning degenerate armor. High force materials are only armor and do not participate in the structure of the battleship. The main structure of the battleship is composed of biological systems. In the Zerg base after level 20, genetic technology is unlocked and biological characteristics are greatly enhanced. The defense it provides is actually not bad. According to the data calculated by the core, assuming that the defense strength of the energy shield is 2, then the defense strength of the strong force armor is 1.5, and the defense strength of the biological system of the final support structure is 1. This 3-layer defense greatly enhances the safety of the battleship. Even if Aoan Civilization's Feiyu fighter comes, the core will still have the confidence to compete with it to see who is tougher. Unconsciously, the technological level that I once looked up to has now been caught up by myself. Quan couldn't help but sigh. He fully agreed with the battleship design. The core immediately started production according to the design drawings. Since the new type of battleship is much larger than the Earth-class battleship, its length has increased from 1,500 meters to 3,000 meters. The battleship factory formed by the base has also been upgraded simultaneously. Daily production has been affected, falling from 200,000 ships per day to 100,000 ships per day. However, Quan knew that these 100,000 latest warships were enough to crush prefecture-class warships that were 10 times his size. The naming method of Tiandi Xuanwang 4th-class battleships continues, and the new battleships are named Tian-class battleships. The core defines the combat power of the sky-level battleships as the peak of the middle-level 3-level civilization. The Sky-class battleship took off with a compelling momentum and stayed in the orbit of Planet 11. Compared with Sky-level battleships, Earth-level battleships are like children's toys. 10 days later, an army of 1 million Sky-class battleships headed for Planet No. 9. The layers ejected a strong flow of energy, revealing astonishing energy waves. The 3-stage power system works together to achieve full thrust. The Sky-class battleship flew out like lightning, accelerating to the limit speed of 30,000 km per hour in just 3 seconds. At this time, there are still more than 5 million Earth-class warships fighting in the star system. Planet number 10 has been captured and is now preparing to attack planet number 9. The combat power of the Soul Clan on Planet 9 has reached the high level of the first-level civilization. This combat power is somewhat similar to the energy life forms on Planet 381. Another similar thing is that the Soul Clan on Planet 9 will merge, just like the Soul Clan on Planet 381. After fusion, their strength has reached the peak of first-level civilization. However, this kind of combat power is still not enough for Earth-level battleships. As long as enough time is given, they can be cleaned up. With the addition of Sky-level battleships, the cleanup will be several times faster. When are you going to collect the genetic data? According to detection, the stronger the number of genes, the better. It would be best to obtain the genetic data from Star 3 and beyond, which would be of greatest help to the main base. Close black lens bracket. Quan also agrees with Core's view. Either don't take it, if you want to take it, then take the best one. Quan even wants planet number 1, or even the soul race closer to the star, and taking their genetic data may be more helpful. The Soul Clan is a very special race, and each time the members are divided, their potentials are different. Absorption points with low potential will be full of energy and can only be divided. With good potential, you can absorb more energy and reach higher levels. As for the Soul Clan that started on Star 3, its strength has reached the level of a third-level civilization, and its potential is obviously quite great. As for the nearest star, it is larger. However, there are not many soul tribes there, so it's hard to say whether they can get it. Now Quan no longer worries about energy. A large number of stars can collect thin films and element decay energy devices, bringing him huge energy at every moment. What he is worried about now is the number and types of genes. Master, life gene technology is about to be developed. Close black lens bracket. Well, when the time comes, use my cell genes for experiments and make sure there are no mistakes. As commanded, life gene technology directly acts on the genetic part and absolutely cannot make any mistakes. It would be best to use ordinary people on Earth for experiments, but we don't have this condition now, right? Fortunately, Quan had all the genetic samples stored in the base at the beginning, and they could be cloned and used. 3 days later, the Corps officially informed Quan that the gene potion had been successfully developed. Moreover, safety experiments have been completed, which can increase the lifespan by 800 to 1000 years. This effect varies from person to person, and the potion needs to be configured individually for each person due to versatility. Quan thought for a while and asked the Corps to build a robot with a full set of equipment and an appearance in the shape of a meteorite. Set the course and fly to the star number 01 of the same species at a speed of 30,000 kilometers per second. This can be considered a gift to you. Looking at the robot disappearing from sight, Quan smiled. The starry sky in the universe is too big, and he is too lonely. Now he basically doesn't watch the chat channel. His mood seems not suitable for watching such a lively environment. While watching those people still discussing about level 8 and level 9 bases, Quan was thinking about how to deal with advanced civilizations like Aoan civilization. The two parties are already living at different levels, just like adults watching a 3-year-old child playing house, which is boring. With the addition of the sky-level battleships, the speed of advancement has accelerated dramatically. The Sky-class battleship relies on its powerful firepower and energy shield to feel like it is in an uninhabited land. Countless Soul Clansmen were wiped out in its cannon fire. In just 30 days, Quan's territory advanced directly to Planet 6. On Planet 6, Quan's army encountered resistance from the Soul Clan. The individual combat power of the Soul Clan here has reached the level of a second-level civilization. After integrating with each other, they can reach the high level or even the peak of the second-level civilization. At the same time, they also possess Quan's most annoying ability, self-destruction. He even self-destructed against the energy shield. At this time, the energy cannon of the Earth-level battleship can no longer kill it with one shot, and it often takes several shots to kill it. The number of the Soul Clan is too large and they can always be found. The power of the blast is very powerful, not even weaker than the primary energy cannon. Earth-level battleships may also be blown up if they are not careful. Let all the Earth-level battleships withdraw and go to the periphery to clean up the Soul Clan. Send all the Sky-level battleships up. These days, only 3 million TN-class battleships have been produced. As a new force, the 3 million Sky-class warships immediately change the situation of the war. Faced with the powerful firepower of a total of 4 million TN-class battleships, Star 6 was quickly cleared. Then the Sky-level battleship took number 6 as the central star, wiped out all the souls within a range of 10 million kilometers, and then continued to number 5. According to the Corps' prediction, although the strengths of the souls on planets 4, 5, and 6 are somewhat different, the differences are not very big. The key is on the last stars 1, 2, and 3. The souls on these 3 planets are the most troublesome. Each one has reached the peak of level 2 civilization, or even the initial stage of level 3 civilization. Of course, it cannot be compared with the initial stage of real level 3 civilization, but it also has similar strength. If they are fused together and then self-destruct, their power may even surpass that of a sky-level battleship. Fortunately, the number of such soul clans is not large, and they are not endless. Otherwise, there is no need to fight and just give up. Be prepared when we attack. We also need to obtain genes. I mean their genetic upgrades. Quan said with a smile, joking with Core. After Star 6 was captured, Star 4 and Star 4 were also captured soon after. Although the Soul Clan above had become stronger, their strength was limited. Facing the overwhelming firepower of the sky-level battleships, the Soul Clan was quickly wiped out. Lord, there is something strange happening in the Soul Clan on Planet 3. Close black lens bracket. They seem to have discovered us and have begun to merge. Close black lens bracket. The burst of energy is very strong, reaching the level of a primary energy cannon. Close black lens bracket. Oh, they will act in advance. In this way, the Soul Clan of Changsheng gave birth to wisdom. 11. Core didn't answer, because he didn't know the answer to this question, and he could only know it if he was actually exposed to it. The army of sky-level battleships quickly rushed towards Star 3, and the war was imminent. Lord, the souls in Planet 3 and the surrounding starry sky have indeed evolved wisdom. Close black lens bracket. Wisdom should not be strong, but more instinctive. Close black lens bracket. Quan also discovered this, at least the other party didn't rush towards him like moths to a flame. They are gathering, like gregarious creatures, instinctively moving closer to each other to face the enemy together. But the energy on the battleship still attracted them deeply, and a few of them couldn't help but rush over and were eliminated by the focused fire. The strength of the souls on Star 3 is already very high, even higher than the battleships of the Yushan civilization. If the Yushan civilization conflicts with them, it will inevitably suffer a complete defeat. If they were to merge with each other, even the third-level battleships of the alien civilization would die ugly. The role of Earth-class battleships has been greatly weakened at this time, and only Sky-class battleships can still maintain strong lethality. Although the soul of 820 has gained a weak wisdom, it does not affect the army's continued advancement. Under the precise control of the core, the battle formation of TN-class battleships formed a dense and powerful firepower network. Because the soul has become stronger, the advancement speed is slower than before. Souls kept coming from the surrounding stars, joining the souls of Star 3, and attacking the battleship. After merging, they became extremely large and could even cover the starry sky with a diameter of tens of kilometers. The ability to withstand energy cannons has also been greatly enhanced. It often takes hundreds or even thousands of cannons to destroy one. The number of souls is still large, and occasionally they will break through the fire blockade and rush to the battleship. The energy shield flashes with dazzling light, completely vaporizing the souls that occasionally rush towards it. The resistance of Star 3 is very strong. If this continues, Stars 2 and 1 will become even more powerful. Additional troops have been deployed. Close black lens bracket. Recently, 3 million newly built TN-class battleships have set off, heading to Star 3 as quickly as possible. By the time they arrived, the number of TN-level battleships engaged in the battle on Star 3 had reached 7 million, which was already a quite large number. It took Yushan civilization thousands of years to accumulate an army of tens of millions of warships. But for the Zerg, for Quan, it is just 100 days of output. Soon, Star number 3 was completely captured, and all the souls within 10 million kilometers of the surrounding area were wiped out. 7 million warships continued to rush to Star 2 without stopping. The soul on Star 2 is more powerful than Star 3, but not much more powerful. There are still some souls at the peak of Level 2 civilization on Star 3, but on Star 2, all the souls have reached the low stage of Level 3 civilization. After fusion, the power is stronger. As we cleared the way, battles continued, and there were many souls in the starry sky. The battleship forced its way forward. The powerful souls on Star 2 and nearby stars have already felt Quan's arrival. What surprised Quan was that they did not show much desire for energy like the previous souls. Instead, they gathered together in an orderly manner and began to merge on a large scale, turning into a huge individual. The fusion of the Soul Clan, which is completely at the third level of civilization, formed a giant translucent creature visible to the naked eye. Its shape is constantly changing, and its length exceeds 1,000 kilometers. And such creatures cannot be counted in the starry sky. The 3,000-meter-long Tian-class battleship looked extremely small in front of them. When the fleet advanced to 5 million kilometers away from Star 2, the energy shield suddenly deformed. Lightning and sparks kept dancing in the starry sky. Thousands of warships at the front suffered invisible attacks at the same time, and the energy shield was almost destroyed. The energy consumption increased geometrically in an instant, and even the latest shield device was almost overloaded. A huge amount of energy disappeared almost instantly, and even the elemental decay energy device could not supply it. The warships under attack in front quickly retreated, returned to the rear to adjust, and the warships exchanged positions. What happened? Quan saw the change in the position of the battleship, but did not see what form of attack it was. The fleet is under attack and is being analyzed. Close black lens bracket. The core has been deployed to analyze the sudden attack. At this time, the invisible attack came again, and it was stronger than before. It was like a giant hand traveling through the void and slamming onto the battleship. The battleship ahead was shaking violently, and the energy shield was changing in light and dark. Finally, the energy shield of a sky-level battleship was overloaded and collapsed instantly. Without the energy expansion shield, the invisible attack fell directly on the battleship's strong force material armor. The battleship suffered a violent impact and was knocked away from the battleship group. There was a dent in the armor made of strong force material. Even the biological parts inside suffered a huge impact. What a powerful force! Quan was also thinking about what kind of attack not only destroyed the energy shield, but also dented the strong force armor. The key is that this attack is intangible and invisible to the naked eye, and it seems that the equipment cannot detect it. In this way, there is no defense at all. Then the attacks came again and again, with increasing frequency and intensity. At this time Quan saw the Soul Clan on star number 2. There are hundreds of millions of soul clans, which are the soul clans after fusion. They formed a group, facing the way of the battleship group. Quan realized that this invisible attack was launched by them. The soul clan on Star 2 is different from the ones that were eliminated before. They have evolved to a certain height and have their own attack methods. Then the attack came again, silently. But Quan keenly discovered that at the same time as the attack occurred, the space on Bixing seemed to be distorted. It was like a calm sea that suddenly fluctuated. There are many things that can affect space fluctuations, but currently, only one is the most likely. Detect the space fluctuations outside the number 2 star, as well as the changes in the 4 forces, especially the gravity. The 4 basic forces of the universe, including gravity and electromagnetic force, may cause space distortion. At present, it seems that the electromagnetic force is stable and the possibility of history is the greatest. Quan suspected that the opponent's attack power came from gravity. The core complied, and the detector quickly adjusted and began observing gravity. The attacks came one after another. The position of the battleship group was constantly changing, and the battleships under attack immediately retreated, adjusted their status, and sorted out their armor. After withstanding hundreds of waves of attacks, the core finally achieved results. Master, after analysis, it is certain that the attack was launched by gravity. Close black lens bracket. This is a brand new attack method that we have never seen before. Close black lens bracket. Quan's guess came true. In this way, Quan is not in a hurry to eliminate the opponent. Keep your distance and collect as much data as possible within your control. Perhaps, we can use this to develop the next generation of weapons. The speed of the fleet dropped again and again, and the core collected as much data as possible. But what is supposed to come will still come, and the fleet cannot always maintain a state of being beaten without fighting back. Now that the first attack is coming, tens of thousands of warships have to be withdrawn. The attack speed is rapidly increasing as the distance approaches. When the distance reaches 2 million kilometers, the intensity of the attack is already considerable, and the attack no longer simply comes from the front. Invisible attacks are coming from all directions. Faced with this situation, the battleship finally opened fire. Huge energy beams illuminate the starry sky. When the energy beam approached star number 2, it was visible to the naked eye that it was distorted. Under the control of the soul, the gravity changed, not only distorting the space, but also the energy beam. After all, the energy beam also flies along the surface of space, and is disturbed by the strong gravity, causing the space to become distorted. After being twisted, the power of the energy beam is greatly weakened, even less than half of its previous strength. The weakened energy beam can still penetrate the Soul Clan's body and cause damage to them, but the effect has been greatly reduced. Attack and defense are integrated. 28 inches. When Quan saw this scene, his mind was like thunder, and an idea suddenly burst out. If this kind of weapon can be developed, can it replace the energy shield, and attack and defense become an integrated whole? As soon as this idea came up, it couldn't stop spreading. Then Quan quickly caught his whimsical inspiration and told the core. The core also agrees with Quan's idea, which is likely to become a reality. But now they are still far away from realizing Quan's idea. This requires an in-depth study of the 4 fundamental forces of the universe. Not only that, but also the impact of the basic forces on space. All in all, at the core, it's hard. In Quan's eyes, it is also very difficult. But now there is the best reference. The soul race is very special. They are between substance and energy body. They are a kind of life form that combines reality and virtuality. It is precisely because of this that the drive towards the invisible force of gravity has become an instinct for them. With only a level 3 civilization, you can use gravity for attack and defense. They don't even know the principle themselves, they just can use it. Bring the fleet back to business. Don't lay down the number 2 star yet. It's such a good opportunity to collect more data and conduct experiments. We can also find ways to obtain their genes and analyze them at the biological level. Perhaps the Zerg biotechnology will bring us different opportunities. Following Quan's order, the Tien-class battleships began to retreat. In fact, according to core calculations, it is possible to win the number 2 star or even the number 1 star, but you may have to pay some price. However, with the base's current production capacity of 100,000 Tien-class warships per day, these costs are within the range of affordability. The core also showed the data to Quan before, and it is estimated that after losing 5 to 6 million Tien-class battleships, all planets can be completely occupied. As for the Soul Clan in the starry sky closest to the star, the preparation data cannot be calculated because the strength is unknown. But now this plan has completely changed with the emergence of gravity attack. Quan decided to use Star 3 as his base to start a tug of war with Star 2. Its purpose is to conduct in-depth research on gravity weapons. Although it may not be possible to build a gravity weapon, it is at least an accumulation. At the same time, you can continue to research and develop technology. The power of the energy cannon can continue to be improved, and the efficiency of elemental decay energy has yet to be developed. The Tien-class battleship has just been produced and can be further strengthened. In the vision shared by Quan and Core, the Tien-class battleship will become the pinnacle-level battleship of the 3rd-level civilization. The speed must reach at least 100,000 kilometers per second, so that the normal speed can reach 1/3 of the speed of light. The power of the energy cannon can be increased 20 to 30 times on the current basis, and the same is true for the Nangwang shield. Then the application of strong force materials can be further explored. The technological route in the 3rd-level civilization has not yet come to an end. The Zerg base has only just reached level 20, and the gene pool needs to be upgraded and unlocked. Quan feels that he is so busy and has no time at all. Any research may take several years, even decades, or even hundreds of years. Fortunately, my lifespan is not a problem and I have plenty of time. Thus, a tug of war in space began, led entirely by Quan. Quan used Star 3 as his base and continued to attack Star 2. The intensity of the attack was not great, with only 5 million warships used each time. That is to say, it can put a certain amount of pressure on the Soul Clan obtained by number 2 without completely defeating them. The Soul tribe on Star 2 has weak wisdom, and they also know how to avoid evil and seek good fortune. When facing Quan's attack, they continued to fuse, and then used their instincts to use gravity to attack and defend. Seemingly repelling Quan's attacks again and again. Through each war, the core collects data and at the same time transforms its own weapons. On the other side, a large number of Earth-level battleships and newly produced Sky-level battleships are rapidly cleaning up the Soul Clan members in the outer reaches of the star system. Quan wants to suppress the Soul Clan in a ball with star number 5 as the center and planet number 2 as the radius. Star system number 5 is not small, much larger than the previous solar system. It is not easy to clean such a large space. But Quan is not in a hurry, sooner or later it will be cleaned up. Did you get the gene 107 from the number 2 star Soul Spirit Clan? I tried 87 times, but the Soul Clan on Planet 2 was not fooled and continued to try. Close black lens bracket. The tug of war has been going on for more than 100 days. During this period of time, I have been thinking of ways to obtain the genes of the Soul Clan. What Quan wants is the Soul Clan genes on Planet 2, those weak ones are useless. But the Soul Tribe on Star 2 is very alert, and they are also very united and do not easily act alone. The gregarious nature is on full display. At the beginning, the core also let the Sky-class battleships rush in, trying to obtain their genes. But it led to a crazy counterattack from them. There were so many Soul Clans that they even caused the loss of hundreds of Heaven-level battleships, but they failed to succeed. Later, the core tried to attract a few more, but the result was also failure. I also tried letting the smaller dragon-armored warriors pass by, but the invisible attack was a nightmare for the dragon-armored warriors. I tried various means, but still couldn't do anything. Master, there may be a real war. In the chaotic war, there may be a chance to obtain their genetic data. Close black lens bracket. This is the only result obtained by the core ground calculation. Taking chestnuts from the fire, if you want to get genes, you can only do this. Then let's do it. Anyway, we have almost obtained the data about gravity, and we can really do some research. After more than 100 days of tug of war, Quan's Tian-class warships have reached 17 million. Enough for an all-out war. When 12 million Earth-level warships left the orbit of Star 3 and rushed toward Star 2, the Soul Clan on Star 2 suddenly shook. The entire number 2 star was vibrating, and the Soul Clans merged crazily to form a huge body of more than 1,000 kilometers. At the same time, there was terrifying energy rolling through the body. Around them, space began to deform and twist. Quan now understands why the gravity in star system number 5 has become so unified that it is even regarded as a whole by the number 4 star outside. The reason is because of these high-level Soul Clans. They unknowingly unified gravity. At this time, gravity becomes their weapon against the outsider Quan. The warship rushed forward, and when it was 5 million kilometers away, the attack suddenly came. The attack came easily and silently, the space was distorted, and the invisible force came down like a big slap. But the core has long been familiar with their attack rhythm. 5 million kilometers is just the beginning of the attack. The closer the distance, the stronger and more intensive the attack. The energy shield of a sky-level battleship can only withstand one attack, and it will take at least 3 minutes to recover. As a result, the battleship continued to change its formation as it advanced. As long as it withstood an attack, the battleship had to retreat to the rear of the lower level. Warships that have not been attacked will come up and act as human shields. Obviously, the Soul Clan has only made the most preliminary application of gravity, and its power is already very impressive. If the power of gravity can really be fully utilized, the attack power will be considerable. Even with such constant changes in formation, the battleship's speed of action was not affected. From 5 million kilometers to 2 million kilometers, it took 101 seconds. In these 101 seconds, formations were changed at least 500 times, and less than 10 warships were lost. Only if the core can carry out such precise control can the loss be minimized. 2 million kilometers, reaching the optimal strike range of the intermediate energy cannon. Thousands of artillery fire, hundreds of millions of energy beams flew out of the muzzle, traveled a long distance of 2 million kilometers, and then experienced distortion and deformation in space. With the remaining energy, it blasted through the Soul Clan's body heavily. In one salvo, tens of thousands of Soul Clansmen were immediately killed by energy cannons. At this time, the Soul Clan was stunned. In the previous more than 100 days of war, Quan's fleet had never shown such powerful lethality. After being stunned for half a second, the Soul Clan became excited. Countless Soul Spirit tribes flew out from star number 2, and more Soul Spirit tribes came from all directions at the same time. There is a communication method between them that Quan cannot understand, which seems to be somewhat similar to his own neural network. In just 10 seconds, the number of Soul Clan increased hundreds of times. The pressure faced by the battleship suddenly doubled. However, the core has long expected this. In the past few days, it has fought hundreds of times with the Soul Clan and has already learned their tactics thoroughly. The core is calm and unhurried, and the battle array keeps beating like a dance. While the battleships were changing their formations, they attacked one wave after another, with uninterrupted tilted gunfire. The energy main guns on each TN-class battleship fire in turns, keeping attacks without gaps. As the distance between the two sides became closer and closer, the fighting became more and more intense and the scene became chaotic. Quan knew that the core plan was to engage in hand-to-hand combat with the Soul Clan and completely confuse the situation. Obtaining the required genes in the chaos is a real matter of getting votes from the fire. At this time, the core has allocated 20% of the computing power for this battle. It controls 12 million TN-class warships simultaneously. Under its control, the TN-class battleship is both a whole and a single person. In comparison, the Soul Clan is much more scattered. In the beginning, they could still concentrate their attacks, but later their team was dispersed by the warships, and their attacks became more and more scattered, and the threat became smaller and smaller. The battleship seems to be in chaos, but each attack is relatively concentrated, and the damage caused is still considerable. One by one, the huge Soul Clan was torn into pieces and wiped out. Quan saw hundreds of warships suddenly leaving the battlefield and rushed back as quickly as possible. Successful. He was overjoyed, knowing that Core's plan was successful. These warships must have obtained the body shapes of the Soul Clan, and also obtained complete genetic data. The goal of the war was achieved, and Quan knew what was going to happen next. The power of the Sky-class battleship began to explode, and the firepower poured out even more terrifyingly. The Soul Clan seemed to be confused. Why did the opponent suddenly become stronger? War for the purpose of obtaining data and war for the purpose of destroying the opponent are naturally completely different concepts. Now the core no longer needs to hold back, nor does it need to care about its own casualties. The primary goal has become to kill the Soul Clan. From defensive counterattack mode to massacre mode. Boom! Suddenly, a Soul Clan exploded. Its body, which was thousands of kilometers long, contained terrible energy and could also shake gravity. Terrifying energy swept across the starry sky, affecting thousands of sky-level battleships. Among them, more than 500 were directly impacted by gravity and were destroyed. As for others who were affected, their energy shields were also breached in an instant. The moment the energy shield disappeared, a large number of souls suddenly appeared around them and rushed directly into the sky-level battleship without a shield. In just a few seconds, these sky-level battleships were swallowed up. After devouring the battleship, these souls regrouped and became an intact soul. Quan was also stunned for a moment. It was clear that the Soul Clan could self-destruct. I just didn't know that after self-destruction, I didn't die, but could still split into smaller ones, and then regroup again after devouring my opponent. In this wave, he lost thousands of sky-level battleships, but his opponent suffered no damage at all. Quote. How can you still fight like this? This is unscientific. 80% of the Soul Tribe self-destructed, destroying the protective cover of the TN-level battleship, and the remaining 20% Qian Dezhao split into small Soul Tribes, which then devoured the warship. Close black lens bracket. Core analyzed calmly. In fact, it is easy to understand. This style of play can only be used by a special race called the Soul Clan. However, for other races, this style of play is almost cheating. It seems that they have found a way to deal with the sky-level battleships, and a large number of Soul Tribes began to self-destruct. And it doesn't completely self-destruct, there will always be a part left behind to continue to restore itself by devouring energy. Over and over again, the damage is almost done at zero cost and the opponent is directly killed. All of a sudden, battleships were lost in batches. The core controlled the warship to fly out quickly, and the melee failed. The battleship broke away from the siege of the Soul Clan and started a positional battle again. In just a few minutes, more than 300,000 warships were wiped out by this almost rogue method. If the core response is not fast enough, this loss will be magnified many times. Beat me hard, no one will be detained. The Corps reintegrates the troops and no longer engages in melee fighting. The original choice of melee was very correct, but I didn't expect that the Soul Clan would also attack with self-destruction. So now let's distance ourselves and engage in positional warfare. Nearly 12 million TN-class warships surrounded Star 2 and advanced layer by layer. The attacks were more intensive than rain, attacking the city and plundering the land, causing the Soul Clan to retreat steadily. Although this will be less efficient, and you will also be damaged. But compared to the melee, it still has an advantage. As for the method of self-destruction, it is not used. The Soul Tribe wanted to rush over and explode themselves, but faced with the dense energy cannon, they were wiped out halfway. Sure enough, the simplest method is the best. Quan knew he had won the war. After taking care of the number 2 star, you can attack the number 1 star. The Soul Clan of Star 1 is slightly stronger than Star 2, but its strength is limited, so it won't be a problem to win. During this period of time, the Corps has bypassed Star 2 several times and had exchanges of fire with the Soul Clan of Star 1. Pretty much what he expected. Star System Number 5, the genetic data of the Soul Clan has been stored in the database. Close black lens bracket. The gene pool unlock reaches 10%, meeting the upgrade requirements. Close black lens bracket. Energy is sufficient 270, the base number begins to upgrade. Close black lens bracket. The 5,000 meter long base began to expand again, with biological systems accounting for 70% of the base. At this time, a massive amount of energy was poured in, and the biological system immediately began to grow. The size of the base number is getting larger and larger, and the length, width, and height all increase. The length increased from 5,000 meters to 10,000 meters in one fell swoop. 10,000 meters, 10 kilometers in length, as big as the super warship of Aoan civilization. After the changes in the biological system are over, the mechanical part begins to be covered again. First, various internal structures were built, then the outer shell, strong force armor, more energy shield devices, and elemental decay energy devices. There is already an arsenal in the base. As long as new scientific research is successful, the base county can be completely self-sufficient. And the most important thing is that the material energy converter is in the base, so you really have everything you need. The powertrain has been increased again. The base's power system has been increased to 20 groups, and its ultimate sailing speed has reached 60,000 kilometers per second, which is twice that of the TN-class battleship. The size of the energy main gun is also larger than that of the TN-class battleship, almost comparable to the SEAB Battle Star. The base is the most disciplined and most powerful battleship in Quan's army. As the base number reached level 21, the Emperor Dragon Armor Warriors came back to receive upgrades. As long as they complete the upgrade, Quan will be able to reach level 20, and he will be able to reach the second level civilization and have terrifying combat power. It is not a problem to live freely in the universe and the stars with a physical body. As long as there are no accidents, it can survive for tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of years. After 5 days of fierce fighting, Shixing was finally captured by Quan. In this war, more than 30 million Soul Clans were wiped out. The damage to the TN-class battleship also exceeded 2 million. Next is Star 1. After the TN-class battleships were replenished, the number reached 15 million, rushing towards Star 1 in a mighty manner. The reaction of the Soul Clan on Star 1 was more intense, and at the same time, Star 2 was stronger. Under their crazy counterattack, it will take a lot of time to win the number 1 star. At this time, the robot sent by Quan to Planet O1 of the same species arrived. Mo Qing has developed to level 9 at this time, and is not far away from level 10 and becoming a true first-level civilization. At level 10, you can develop satellite rockets and conduct preliminary exploration of the starry sky. After these years, Mo Qing has become more mature and has grown from a little girl to a great commander. Thanks to Quan's help, Mo Qing developed smoothly on this planet. I never experienced a war again. Moreover, the indigenous people discovered that Mo Qing would not initiate a war, and that Mo Qing would also give them some of his scientific and technological achievements. Now the relationship between the planet's natives and Mo Qing is very harmonious. Although Mo Ching had little contact with the Aborigines, at least she did not feel lonely. But I still think of that message from time to time. Where have you been? In the quiet night, Mo Ching looked up at the stars. Suddenly a meteor streaked across the sky. Mo Ching didn't make a wish, but the meteor flew straight towards her. By the time he wanted to hide, it was already too late, so he could only let out an instinctive cry. The meteor suddenly stopped in front of her, and then quickly unfolded in front of her. It turned out to be a humanoid robot. The robot is about 1 meter tall when unfolded, which is not very big. Mo Ching was already stunned. This level of technology surpassed her by who knows how many levels. The robot's eyes glowed red, and it scanned Mo Ching's body to confirm Mo Ching's identity. Hello, I have been ordered to make genetic medicine for you. Please take some hair or other tissues and put them in the box. The robot made a voice, and Mo Ching was even more surprised. The robot actually spoke Earth language. Her mind was racing and she immediately thought of Quan, the person who once helped her but then moved away from her. The robot held a box in its hands, and Mo Ching took off some broken hair and put it inside. The robot put away the box, stuffed it into its stomach, and began to detect genes. What kind of potion are you going to make? Mo Ching was not afraid. Perhaps because of the Earth language, hearing her hometown dialect made Mo Ching feel a little warmer. The robot didn't answer. It was constantly running fixed programs, analyzing genes, and manufacturing medicines. A few minutes later, the robot took out the box from the body. There was a syringe lying in the box, with a few milliliters of crystal clear blue light flowing in it. Mo Ching curiously took the syringe and looked at the medicine inside. It was beautiful, like flowing gems. Is this genetic medicine? What's the use? The robot replied according to the programmed program. Based on your genes, a life-extending drug suitable for you has been prepared. After injection, your natural lifespan can be increased by 891 years. Mo Ching was shocked. The life medicine in front of her could make her live 891 years longer. Based on this calculation, I can live for nearly 1,000 years. I'm afraid you're not joking. But the robot obviously had no intention of joking with her. After the drug is manufactured, its activity can only be maintained for 10 minutes. Please inject it as soon as possible. Mo Ching just hesitated for a moment and immediately injected the medicine into her body. I felt a slight pain in my arm. The medicine had been injected, and there was no other unnecessary feeling. The robot scanned this point and continued. The master said, develop well and we may have the opportunity to meet you in the future. After saying that, the robot immediately disintegrated and turned into pieces in an instant. Mo Ching murmured, in the future, how long will it be in the future? The starry sky was shining, and Mo Ching's eyes seemed to be shining brighter than the stars at this moment. Master, the genetic drug has been injected, and Miss Mo Ching's natural lifespan can be increased by 891 years. Close black lens bracket. While Mo Ching was injecting the genetic drug, Core had already reported the situation to Quan. This is just an early stage of genetic medicine. With the development of biotechnology, there is still a lot of room for genetic drugs. Lifespan can continue to improve. However, Quan did not pay too much attention to Mo Ching's development. He was worried that his appearance would attract the attention of Aoan civilization. The Feiyu fighter plane sent by Aoan civilization to destroy him was destroyed by him, and maybe a more powerful warship will be sent. He may have been eyeing the 7th area, Division 03. So at that time, I cut off all contact with Division 03, and even the satellites released self-destructed. Only Mo Ching left behind a heavily camouflaged satellite. It will start every 10 days, and each startup time shall not exceed 5 seconds. Just pay attention to Mo Ching's situation. The robot he sent this time was also specially disguised as a small meteorite. Moreover, after many times of transformation and rolling, when it is not unfolded, its diameter is only 38 centimeters, making it difficult to find. Try to make everything as perfect as possible. If you are discovered again like this, there will be nothing you can do. How is the capture of Star 1 going? Tens of millions of sky-level battleships are fighting fiercely on Star 1. The attack on Star 1 has lasted for more than 10 days. The two sides fought back and forth, but overall Quan had the advantage. But it will take some time to completely attack it. The Soul Clan on Star 1 is not large in number, but their strength is very high. Close black lens bracket. Their gravitational field attack is much stronger than that of the Soul Clan on Planet 2, and the defensive force field is also very powerful. Our energy cannon can only exert 1/3 of its destructive power. 1. Most of the energy was consumed in the distorted space, and its power was greatly weakened. The opponent's gravitational field attack is very powerful. Although the energy shield of the Sky-class battleship can block it, the pressure it can withstand is also very huge. In addition, Star Number 1 is very close to Star Number 5, and the energy continuously released by Star Number 5 is absorbed by the Soul Clan in large quantities. As a result, the Soul Clan has almost no energy limit. Each of the Soul Clans that fought with the battleship was formed by the fusion of 100 identical Soul Clans, with a body size of nearly 2,000 kilometers. Once they move, they will cover the sky and the sun. Because of the enrichment of huge energy, the body that was originally illusory has now become somewhat full, visible to the naked eye. Various reasons cause the battle for Star 1 to exceed the core's expectations. Predictions and deductions were all wrong at this point. How is the genetic analysis of the Soul Clan going? The genetic sequence of the Soul Clan has been included in the Zerg gene database and is currently being fully analyzed. Close black lens bracket. Their gene chain is very strange. It is a 1.5 chain gene, which is different from the double-stranded genes of most living organisms. Close black lens bracket. 1.5 chain gene. Could it be that it is precisely because of this that this life form with a special structure was created? Single-stranded genomes are generally viruses. Double-stranded genes are currently known to be the genetic structure of most organisms. And the 1.5 chain. The core simulates and displays the genetic map of the Soul Clan. It looks no different from a double-stranded gene. It is also a spiral structure in which two gene chains are entangled with each other. However, it can be seen that one of the two gene chains is in a half-broken and half-separated state, which is different from the other complete gene chain. The half-broken and half-separated gene chain is dependent on the main gene chain. So it can only be regarded as 0.5 items. It's a very strange gene chain. Was the energy body on Planet 381 the same before? Have you done any comparison? The Soul Clan on Planet 381 has less than 1.5 gene chains to be precise, and the proportion of side chains is even smaller. Close black lens bracket. Most of the genes of the two are similar, so it can be determined that they are the same family, with only some minor differences. Close black lens bracket. It is these tiny differences that create completely different differences in strength. The Soul Clan genes in front of them are more complete and more powerful. Incorporate all the Soul Race genes from planets 12 to 3 into the database, conduct detailed comparisons, and find out the differences. Lock the differentiated parts and conduct in-depth research. Open black lens bracket. Obey. Close black lens bracket. Quan believes that through genetic comparison, we can always find ways to use the gravitational field, and maybe we can also find the secrets of the Soul Clan. The Soul Tribe is a relatively mysterious species and is worth studying. Gene comparison is simple, but it is more difficult to find the subtle differences, and even the core takes a lot of time. After absorbing the genes of the number 2-star Soul Spirit Clan, the Zerg gene database has been unlocked to 12%, and as the analysis proceeds, the unlocking level can increase a little. Quan walked outside the ship and felt the heat radiation from the 4th star, which was a rare feeling of warmth. The upgrade work of the dragon-armored warriors has come to an end. A large amount of energy is fed back in a Zerg-specific way, and their strength is rapidly increasing. It doesn't take long to reach a whole new level. When the 100,000th level 20 dragon armor warrior was upgraded, an unusual aura suddenly erupted from Quan's body. Each civilization has different descriptions of this breath, but generally speaking, this is the breath of evolution. The level of life begins to jump, and a qualitative change occurs. Oh, the breath is getting stronger and stronger, and huge energy is revealed from every cell in the body. Reach the level of evolution of second-level civilization by yourself. He is a walking hydrogen bomb. If he walked on the earth, if he did not restrain his aura, he could kill countless people just by relying on the radiation fluctuations emitted from his body. Life that has not evolved is simply unable to resist. Quan has been waiting for this moment for a long time. The physical body is getting stronger, the cells are evolving, and so is the spiritual world. There is lightning and thunder in the spiritual world, and unknown forces are growing. The performance is that the computing power is getting stronger and stronger, and the learning ability has reached a new height. Another way to say it is that the development of the brain has increased. In addition, Quan feels that his ability to control his body has greatly increased. As long as he is willing, he can even control every cell in his body. It has transformed from macroscopic muscles and joints to microscopic cell-level control. Is the direction of continued improvement at the micro level. Lord, this is because your mental strength has increased. If your spiritual power continues to increase, you can even interfere with reality from the spiritual world. Close black lens bracket. This is like using invisible gravity to interfere with the real space. Although spiritual power is not the basic force of the universe, it is the basic force of living bodies. After becoming powerful to a certain extent, it also has the ability to interfere with reality. At this point, Quan finally became a life form of the second-level civilization, and his life level was raised to a whole new level. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.